Hello, everybody. This is Landon. And, as some of you guys know, I've been very busy lately. And I'm going to continue to be so for quite some time. So, I asked my lovely public over at cubeville.org to ask me questions, which I'm going to answer for you now. Dog asks, why don't you sing more? Well, I'm not a singer, and I don't have a good voice for singing. What is your favorite part of Cubeville? It's the community by far. You guys are awesome, and I wouldn't stick around if it weren't for you guys. My least favorite part of Cubeville? Crap. I guess my least favorite part would have to be how busy it gets. But I love it, and I love playing with you guys. You guys are awesome. What sort of things do you like to eat every now and then? Not once or twice a week, but once a month or so. See, I kind of eat everything all of the time. I would have to say cheesecake. Hands down. I don't have it nearly as often as I wish I could. If you had to pick a favorite block, what would it be? If I had to pick a favorite block, I would say oak log. Most of my builds are oak log because it was just what existed back in the day, and I really just like it. Do you prefer RPG or puzzle games, and why? If I had to pick, I would say RPG, because I really love a story rather than just thinking. I play a lot of games just for their stories, and I know that I've missed a lot of really good old stories, but I'm fine with that. So I would say RPG, because of the story. If you could see one in-game event happen, what would it be? Describe it as best you can. I know what you're doing here. Human cannon events. I would like to see people, launch each other out of cannons for distance. That would be pretty awesome. Numel1 asks, do you design your ships before building them? And if so, what is your creative process? Sometimes. Now, a lot of my older ships, and a couple of them on the CV 3.0, I would just pull from Planet Minecraft or MC Schematics, and just kind of make minor adjustments to, because I thought some of their designs kind of sucked in some places, but they were awesome overall. And it's a lot harder to design on Cubeville, where you don't have the ability to just fly around the ship to get a good look at it, or you have to nerd pull up to build everything. So, do I design my ships before I build them? For the most part, yes. And if you've seen the giant ship I'm building outside of Altus, I'm designing that one as I go. I tried to design it in single-player creative, but I got lazy. SqueeXV asks, why are you such a noob? Some say that's not a serious question. But I am a noob. In a lot of ways. It's because I don't care. I just don't care. Gary S. Mod asks, what is your forum avatar supposed to be? Well, my forum avatar is a grayscale portrait of Discord from My Little Pony. And I just thought it looked kind of cool at the time. He also asks, what time are you usually online? I used to be online pretty much all the time. You guys just wouldn't know it. Nowadays, I'm not really ever online. Ever. I try to get on, I guess, every night around, I don't know, sunset, Eastern Standard Time. Spawn of Cain. Little Caney asks, what was your first thought when you made admin? I think I asked why. And if I have the screenshot, I'll post it. I'm fairly certain I just asked why, because I didn't really think I needed it. And a week before, I was talking to Goalie Guy, and I actually said I would make a terrible admin because I'm so lazy. And then I was admin. It's weird. She also asks, what were your favorite cartoons as a kid/teen? As a kid, I liked to watch Angry Beavers, Cat Dog, Samurai Jack, that old 5-minute Clone Wars cartoon that played between shows, like in the middle of the day. If you could use one color to describe your personality, what would it be and why? I would have to say blue. Because blue. Mostly because there are like 62 recognized shades of blue, and they all kind of mean something different. So it's a generic answer, and I don't actually have to answer it. So, go pick your favorite color blue and find the meaning behind it, and then pretend I answered the question. If all of Cuba were stranded on an island in the middle of the ocean in real life, which position would you take in this time of need? I.e. captain, chef, hunter, etc. I'm no leader in the slightest form. Chef? Only if you all wanted to starve to death. I guess I would just be the guy who could get around kind of easily. I like to think I'm a fairly well-in-shape guy, and I like to run pretty often, so I like to think I could probably be some form of hunter or gatherer. Mayoline asks, how did you pick the name Landon? I always feel that every username has a story, so I'm curious as to what yours is. Happy face. Shockingly, yes, Landon does come with a story. You see, back when I was just a bitty-bitty Twinkie Pinky, I played on this game called Habbo Hotel with one of my friends. And basically, he was Landon with 2 exclamation points before and after for some reason. And I was Kareem. So we played that game 8 years ago. After a while, we ended up moving to a new game, sponsored by Coca-Cola, which is no longer up. It was basically the same kind of point and click, it was just better looking, it was more teen-oriented. Again, he was Landon, and I don't remember, something stupid. And as time went on, that game shut down, and turned into what's now there.com, and you can go look at that, it's like a 3D game, and they just basically, Coke started sponsoring it, so they threw everyone from their game into it, and then, made an island in the shape of a Coke bottle that took 3 hours to drive across, or 2 hours to fly across, if you really wanted to sit at your computer going in a straight line for 2 hours. And it was in the shape of a Coke bottle, and it had a city in the Fizz that was huge. That was all Coke sponsored, and you could have Coke sponsored apparel and stuff. It was basically just marketing. And when they transferred over, he stopped playing video games, and the account was renamed The First Landon, because Landon had been taken. So I played for a really long time on that game. A couple years, I guess, for the fun of it, and we would hang out. And that was a really fun game. That was actually a pretty good one. It was just kind of a 3D do whatever you want game. There was no story or quest or point at all, except get online and do things. And from then on, I guess, it just kind of turned into Minecraft and YouTube and everything else. Twitter, where I just kind of keep the name Landon because I don't want to use my real name. And Landon is a nice, simple, wholesome name. What is your favorite book? How about your favorite author? Any reason you like that book and author above all others? My favorite book isn't a real book. My favorite book I just finished reading, and I've been reading for over a year because I was slow and I stopped reading it at one point, isn't a book, it's a story called Background Pony, written by Short Skirts and Explosions. And basically it's the story of the ultimate background pony, and I'll be posting a video of that. I'm working on something for that, and I think you guys would like it here soon. Now, my favorite author is Curtis Zimmerman. What season of the year is your favorite and why? I would have to say winter. Mostly because I work all summer, and I go to the school for every other season, and winter is just kind of quiet. And outside of my last winter, I've never had a bad one. What is the dumbest thing I've ever done in-game? I don't think you understand that I've played Cubeville for well over 2 years now. I've done a lot of really dumb. If I had to pick one, deciding to build a ship that was 600 meters long. That was pretty dumb. What is the most awesome/epic thing you've ever experienced in-game? There's been a lot, actually, just with the community and the other admins in general. It's like, you guys are all really awesome, and hanging out with you guys is a lot of fun. I mean, if you've seen me in-game, usually 4 or 5 people are PMing me at once, and I'm always busy. And it's not because I don't want to hang out with you, it's because I'm always hanging out with someone, or I'm always doing something. So it's been kind of hard, I guess, to hang out with everybody and get those like awesome experiences as often as I would like. But I really don't think I could choose the most awesome experience because I've just like it's been so long and I've just had so many. So I would almost say just logging in would just be like the most awesome part because it's so nice when I log in and see everyone so happy to see, well, you know, everyone. It's kind of fun. Sephora27 threw a myriad of questions my way to the tone of, what is your favorite band? My favorite band at the moment, my favorite band kind of changes. I don't have a solid set favorite band per se, and I listen to a lot of people who just write songs for the internet, mostly like My Little Pony musicians over on eqdmusic.com. Link in the description below. Right now, my favorite band's going to have to be Dropkick Murphys. What's my favorite movie / TV series? My favorite movie is Sleepless in Seattle with Tom Hanks, or You've Got Mail with Tom Hanks, because I love that movie and everything about that movie. My favorite TV series is My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, because it's the only TV series I watch. Do you like chocolate or vanilla? I like vanilla. I'm a pretty vanilla guy, and I like the plain, simple sweetness of vanilla. Outside of cookies and cream, vanilla is my favorite. Do you like cats or dogs? I like both, and I've owned both, and many of both. At one point, I actually had 8 to 14 dogs who just kind of came and went. But overall, I would have to say I like cats more, because my most recent cat, who died 3 years ago, almost, was the best cat I had ever seen, and he was my best friend for a long time. So I would have to say I like cats more. If you could live anywhere, where would it be? That's a good question, and it's one that I actually think about kind of often now because it's getting to that point where I have to decide that. If I could live anywhere, I would have to say, as of right now, Cincinnati, Ohio. I really like visiting there. Whenever I got the chance to drive through and stay with friends, it was always pretty great. And there's always something to do. It's really close to a couple other cities that are just really fun. So if I could live anywhere in the world right now, would you rather live in the extreme cold or the extreme heat? I would choose extreme cold. When it gets cold out, you can make yourself warmer kind of easily, even in the extreme cold. But in the extreme heat, you're just uncomfortable. I'm a big fan of the cold, so I would live in the cold. What is your favorite holiday, and why? My personal favorite holiday would have to be Halloween. There's a lot of great parties, costumes, and you get to dress like an idiot for like a week, because normal people don't just dress up on Halloween, right? Right? No? Only me? Forget you guys. Name one food that you couldn't live without. Pizza. Name the most disgusting thing you've ever eaten. Well, I don't know if I could say her name on here. I mean, sour cream. I can't eat sour cream. It just is awful. In every way. What is your favorite color? Red. What is the best vacation you ever went on? I don't really go on vacation. I've never had really the amazing ability to just go on vacations. I've always been kind of busy with something or doing something, or not have the funds. The best vacation I ever went on would probably be my trip to London in 2010. And I spent a week in the thriving city of London for New Year's. And there were 9 million people in the city the week that I was there. And there was always something to do. One Bald Eagle 1 asks, which airship was the hardest you have ever made? The one I'm working on right now. It's huge. And I really need your guys' like suggestions, because I have no idea what to do with it after I finish the hull. At all. Brewd DDYD WY. asks, why do you love dem ponies so much? And no standard brony responses, please. Lay your soul bare here. Careful, I have an encyclopedic knowledge of just about every part of the brony fandom, to the point where it's beyond obsession. Why do I love ponies? Okay, story. I first stumbled across the animated television show My Little Pony Friendship is Magic in December of 2011. Now, the show came out in October of 2010, so I was very behind the scene because I don't go on web forums or on the internet. Ever. I'm not even here right now. So I came into contact with this link entitled Cupcakes, Warning Explicit, and I clicked on it. And in this video, if you've seen it, it's an animated video where this pink pony murders this blue pony horribly. Really, really horribly. And I watched it, and I was like, well, what's this? And I noticed that it was My Little Pony. And I was like, wow, who would do this to such an old, weird show? People on the internet are strange. And then I looked in the description, and I found the story linked to a Google Docs. And I read it. And it was even more disturbing than the video. And then I looked at the related videos. And it kind of exploded from there. And I noticed that this was different. This wasn't the My Little Pony that everyone knew about. This was new. This was something that I had never heard of before. And I found this video about Rainbow Dash that had like 20,000 views at the time, called You're Gonna Go Far Kid, Rainbow Dash. And it is the song that you all are thinking of, The Offspring, You're Gonna Go Far Kid, except sped up and had the pitch raised so it almost sounded like Rainbow Dash was singing it. And I know that's corny and lame, but the music video that went with it was very good. And that video now has something like 20 million views. Don't quote me. Somewhere between 12 and 20 million views. Great. It's just a great video. And that's what really turned me full brony, is just the fans. As for the show itself, why I like the show, why I watch the show instead of just doing the fan thing, real life sucks. Like a lot. And the show doesn't. Because in the show, friendship really does solve everything. And in real life, you don't really get that. You don't get to solve your problems by just leaning on a friend every time. In the show, everyone's happy, and everything's colorful and, pretty and bouncy. And when a problem comes along, and even everyday problems manifested into some form of being, like they do in the show, you can always solve it with the help of friends. And it's just a good feeling of knowing that, like, no matter what happens, your friends will be there. And in this show, everyone has a life goal. For instance, Twilight wants to become a great unicorn, Rainbow Dash wants to become a Wonderbolt, Fluttershy just wants to take care of animals, Rarity wants to be a famous dressmaker, and Applejack just wants to do what's good for her farm. Pinkie Pie just kind of parties. A lot. She just wants to have friends. And they all are accomplishing their dreams. They're all growing. If you watch Season 1 and Season 3, and soon Season 4, you'll see that they're all accomplishing their dreams. Slowly but surely, and at the end of every episode, something has progressed in the show. Something has gone forward, and you know that one day, the Cutie Mark Crusaders will receive those cutie marks. Rainbow Dash will become a Wonderbolt. Twilight will move up in the world as Princess Twilight Sparkle, and Rarity will make it big, because they're going to work for it over years' time in our world. And that's just a great feeling. Gary S. Mod asks, what are your top 10 favorite ponies? My top 10 favorite ponies in order: Luna, Princess Luna, Lyra Heartstrings, Octavia Philharmonica, Vinyl Scratch aka DJ Pony, Rarity, Trixie Lulamoon, Twilight, Rainbow Dash, Applejack, then Fluttershy. Yeah. He also asks, why is Luna your favorite pony? Luna's my favorite pony because she doesn't have that set story just yet in the show from her life before the Shadow's advent and the creation of Nightmare Moon up until Nightmare Night in Season 2. She just kind of exists, and she has potential for such an interesting story because of her past and the time she lost, the lack of friends, the general rejoining of society that she has to go through that isn't really touched on. So you can kind of let your imagination run wild, or you can choose a story, like I do usually, and kind of weave it together nicely. Falco413 asks, how old are you? If you don't know my exact age, it's because I don't want you to, or you just don't know how to look hard enough. Misimi asks, what is your first name IRL? Well, it's not Landon. Mr. Man01 asks, why a Magma Cube? Well, for the same as before, it's just I kind of picked it because I lived in the Nether, and my character just kind of turned into that because I like the Nether. Fig Newton asks, if you were a tree, what tree would you be? Mahogany. If you saw someone drop $5, would you return it? Yes. 100? Yes, I guess. What would you buy with $1 million if you could only buy one thing? Probably one of those homemade plushies of Princess Luna that people take for charity. Describe to me what purple looks like if I'm blind and I have been so all of my life. I can't. You wouldn't get it. Mr. Kips asks, why do you or don't you like mudkips? And how much do you like/dislike them? I don't like mudkips. I don't even like mudkips. And I don't like them because they're mudkips. Falco413 asks, am I the only one who's really curious to know what he looks like? Well, if I hit 50 subs, you'll know exactly what I look like because I'll sing a duet with myself. And it'll be a love song. To me. SqueeXV asks, you stand at a fork in the road. Next to each of the two forks there stands a guard. You know the following things. 1. One path leads to paradise, the other to death. From where you stand, you cannot distinguish between the two paths. Worse, once you start down the path, you cannot turn back. And 2. One of the guards always tells the truth. The other guard always lies. Unfortunately, it is impossible for you to distinguish between the two guards. You have permission to ask one guard one question as to ascertain which path leads to paradise. Remember that you do not know which guard you are asking, the truth teller or the liar, and that this single question determines whether you will live or die. The question is, what one question asked of one of the guards guarantees that you are led down to the path of paradise regardless of what you happen to ask? Actually, I've heard this one before in a philosophy class, and you ask one guard what the other would say leads to paradise. Random Rob 7 asks, if you could own any car, what would it be? I'm not too picky about cars, and I don't know enough about cars to really answer this on a logic base, so I would say my old Dodge Avenger. Do you prefer baths or showers? I like showers better. I'm not a big fan of just sitting in water. Who would you consider to be your closest CV friend? I don't think I could answer that one, because I really don't want to put any one person on the spot, and I talk to a lot of you really often, and a few of you have added me on Skype and such, so I don't really have a closest Cubeville friend. I just have a lot of pretty good friends on Cubeville. Why do you build so many ships? That started on the second map of Cubeville, where I built one ship right next to my little noob house that was carved into the side of a mountain. And when I moved, I built an airship by my tower. It really sprung up in the last map, as you guys who know me from the last map will remember, being that I lived on an island on the edge of the map by myself, which I ended up protecting the entire island. And outside were two large ships, And then once I bought Boardwalk, it just kind of made sense to fit a ship theme to it. So I put 4 ships in Boardwalk, 2 merchant ships, a PvP ship, and the airship that contained my portal. I built Bald Eagle's house out of the largest airship that I've built so far, and it just kind of grew from there. It was mostly just because I like the way ships look. I like the intricacy of them. They're complicated, they don't have a lot of smooth sides, and they angle nicely. So from a distance, they look really good if you make them big enough. So that's why. What has been your favorite question so far? It's actually been about a week since I started answering these at this point, and I don't really pay attention to which one was the best. But I would have to say Squee XV's "Why are you such a noob?" was the best question I've been asked so far. Mayoline asked, do you have a backstory for your in-game avatar? If so, explain to us the rise of this extraordinary magma cube. I do, and it's a good one. When I first started playing Cubeville, I used your standard skin. I did not have one. And I eventually switched out to an airship captain when I built my first airship by my tower. After that came like this gruffy engineer with goggles on his head. And I moved him to the Nether, and I started building a highway system in the Nether. So I just changed his clothes, and I gave him some like worn, ashen gray, like torn up cloth that covered the bottom of his face and his arms and such. And as time kind of went on, I changed that character, and I kept that engineer for a long time. And that even carried over into Cubeville 3.0. And after I bought my Boardwalk on Cubeville 3.0, which was called the Plaza at the time, I put a suit on him because we became big businessmen, and I made like 52,000 cubes on Boardwalk. Then I moved back to the Nether for some reason, even though I had Boardwalk to take care of. So when I moved back to the Nether, I just did what I usually do, and I changed his clothes again. But I didn't want to get rid of the suit, so I just gave him a burnt suit. I kind of burned holes in it and gave it some like red tint and some like ash to it. As time went on with my Nether building, I eventually just gave my character a fire slime head and arms and such, just to kind of mix it up, because I figured if I was going to spend so much time in the Nether, I might as well be one of the creatures of the Nether. And I think that kind of led to what I did afterwards, and me being one of the people who helped build the Nether for the current Cubeville map, which I'm really proud of still. Brappa77 asks, what is your favorite song or piece of music? Moonlight Sonata, the first movement. How did you become a staff member? Your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea. I wasn't even actually nominated for staff before my promotion. It just happened one day, and I'm not sure why. And that goes for every level of staff that I've gotten so far. I have no idea why. I don't know why I'm an admin right now. What is your favorite game? Right now, my favorite game is probably the one that I'm doing a series on, which is Warframe, because it's new and it's different, and I've never really played an over-the-shoulder shooter before. What do you hope to gain from answering our questions? I don't have anything to gain. This actually is just one of the things that's taking up more time of doing other things, but I want to do it because I wanted to see what questions you guys would ask me and just kind of get to know you guys a little better, I guess, on a personal standpoint. What is your favorite quote? I'm not sure I have a favorite quote. I've never been a kind of guy who latches onto quotes for anything. Why am I asking these questions? Because you love me, and you just don't want to admit it. What is your favorite building style? I think my favorite style of building would be towers, and round buildings in general, because I've built the same tower as my home since I first started playing Cubeville. I'm thinking of a number between 7 and 7. What is it? 6? Will you answer my questions? I think you just found that out, didn't you? Can you recite the alphabet backwards on command? Z, Y, X.
I give up. No. What is the smartest thing you've ever done? Become a brony. What is your favorite video game console? The PC. What is your dream occupation or job? That's a tough one, and I'm not sure I can answer it properly, but I want to be in a creative position. Not something where I have to actually create art. I'm not an artist or music. I'm not a musician anymore. But any job that really gives me the freedom to do things in my own way.
That's all I've got for now, guys. If you have more questions, keep sending them my way, and if I get enough, I'll make another video. And if I don't, I'll just send you the answer. If you hear from YouTube, ask me anything. I don't care what it is. You don't have to ask me anything super specific. So, thanks for the questions, guys. I'm really happy to be your admin and to let you get to know, I guess, the internet side of me a little better from this round. So, this is Landon, signing off. Goodbye, everybody.